Welcome to Childcare Conversations with Kate and Carrie.
Have you raised your rates yet?
No.
Well, but inflation has been happening. Have
Yes,
you noticed?
But my parents, they don't have any money. And my parents are all hurting for money. And my staff all want raises.
Yeah. So this week's topic that we want to talk to you about is the fact that you should be raising your tuition rates every year, come rain or come shine, come recession or come boom. It doesn't matter. You have to have an increase in your tuition rates every year.
Okay, wait. But my people have no money. If I raise the rates, they're going to leave me.
No. So one of our friends, who also is a consultant, so this is not one of our clients. This is one of a friend's clients, and she doesn't even mostly coach in childcare. She is a social media person, and she's been on our podcast before. I'll try to get the link to give to Marie to link. Anyway, she was coaching somebody about they needed to raise their rates. She's like, you need to raise your rates. You're not even average for your area. You have to raise the rates. And they were like, no, I will lose all my families and I'm already not full. And that's why I'm so cheap, is so that I can get full. And she was like, no, that's wrong. And that's wrong in every industry. I don't care that you're working in childcare.
Okay, I just want people who think that to think one thing. How's that working for you? If you're trying to be the lowest so that you can be full and you're not full, that thinking's not working. Okay, go ahead, Carrie.
Okay, so now my brain is trying to remember her name. I'm so bad at names. Anyway, and she said, okay, here's the thing. If we change your prices, you can change it back in 2 days if it's a complete catastrophe. So just try it. And they increased her rates by, I think it was $100 a week. Like, that is a huge jump in one go. And 90 days on, her program is completely full. Because the thing is, if you are $100 less than the average program in your area, there is a whole swath of people who aren't going to bring their kids to you because they're like, you're not taking good care of the kids. You're not paying good staff. I don't want this is an old reference, but it's what popped into my head. I don't want the Payless Shoes version of childcare.
You don't want the Dollar Tree version. You don't want the Dollar Tree version.
They don't want Dollar Tree childcare. They want Nikes. They want, they
at least want Target.
Yeah.
So you have to decide, and I think that's a great way to think about it. If you are a child care center, ask yourself, are you Dollar Tree? Are you Walmart? Are you Target? Are you Dillard's? Are you, what version are you? And does your curriculum and your staff pay match? If you're a program that is $100 a week cheaper than everybody else, but yet you're paying staff $19 an hour and all of your kids are subsidized, there's a mismatch.
The budget's not going to work. And if you're in a nonprofit program, you're going to spend all of your time writing grants and then trying to comply with the grants. If you're a privately owned childcare center, you're going to be subsidizing your business. Somebody is writing that check if you aren't charging enough to be able to cover the expenses of your business. So
how do I know? Okay, so how do I know how much to charge?
I mean, a shortcut is to go find out what the Child Care Block Grant Fund in your area is paying and multiply that number times 22. So if they're paying everybody, I'm just picking a random number, $20.25 per day for this age group for full-time care, you need to be charging more than 22 times that. So that is an easy baseline. You have to be charging at least that much. So that's an easy way to get started. The number of programs who are like, well, but CCS says they pay this much, but they don't pay me that much. Yeah, because you're not charging that much. The federal government's not going to pay you more than the clients in your neighborhood.
Well, and then,
if that's what you're charging the clients, that's what I'm going to pay you.
well, and you also have to remember that, you know, those programs also want to see quality improvement. So are you on the quality improvement rating scale for your state, and are you moving up that ladder? Okay.
Yep. But that's only one way to find the price. Let's talk about the way that you like to find the price, Kate.
So I love to go online. I love to secret shop and find out what other people are charging. And if you're not comfortable doing this, I bet you have a friend who is. And they can just make a persona, and you want to make sure that they're doing apples to apples. And so let's just say that your program right now, that you have a big opening for toddlers and maybe older infants, right? So from 12 months to 18 months, and then your toddlers 18 months to 2.5. Have somebody or you yourself call programs that are within 5 miles of you that are of a similar type of program. You don't want to call the Montessori program if you're not a Montessori program.
Okay, but I have a question. Isn't that price fixing, Kate? Are we forming a syndicate if we do that?
I mean, that would be you calling them and saying, hi, I have a child care center and I want us to have our prices the same, which is not what I'm saying. I'm saying to secret shop and find out what somebody else is charging. Because,
and again, Target does this. Mm-hmm. They'll match anybody's price on items. Lots of stores have that. I'll match any price on that item. And they know that those are prices because they've gone out and shopped.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why there are secret shopping companies. There are people who go out and get paid to be a secret shopper. So, and there's going to be differences. You may actually want to charge more than the program down the street because you also offer ballet and gymnastics and music lessons included in your tuition. So these are all baseline.
Or maybe you have a bunch of people on staff who speak Spanish, and so they're getting some Spanish immersion just by being in a building where people are speaking Spanish a fair amount. So you can add those things in and go, okay, well, my rates are going to be higher because everything in my program, we just painted everything. We got new equipment. We used our COVID money for equipment in our building instead of going on vacation. And so our program looks newer, looks fresher than the program down, a mile away where they use their COVID money to take everybody to the beach for a week. Right. So you invested in the physical elements of your building. So your building looks better. So you should be charging more. Also, if there is a childcare resource and referral agency in your area, they will also have what the prices are for childcare for different age groups in the first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, and fourth quartile. So you can get that from your local resource and referral agency if there's one around.
And remember, not everybody posts all of their tuition rates online, but a fair amount of people do. That doesn't require a phone call. So remember that. You can always ask your parents. If you've got new parents that have come from another program, you can ask them, what were you paying at the other program? You can also ask parents when they leave, why they're leaving. When parents come, why did they come to you? But if you offer something unique, what is your unique selling proposition? What is unique about your program? Is it languages? Is it STEM? Is it play-based? Is it nature-based? Is it Montessori? If you've not read our book, which is up here somewhere, there we go, right there, From Overwhelmed to I Got This, and you haven't done the very first chapter, which is understanding your own educational philosophy, then a lot of what we talk about on our podcast may be a little bit out of scope for you, but we want to make sure that you know what is the educational philosophy to your program, because that does come back to the marketing. It comes back to the pricing. It comes back to who are you comparing yourself to? And we are not going to sit here and cast judgment and say, oh, you must be a Montessori program, or you must be play-based, or you have to be academic, you have to be nature-driven. Whatever your passion is, you want to find the families that agree with that and are going to pay you for that. But you can't be everything to everybody.
Well, okay, I'm going to push back though, based on that little bit, and say, when you're doing the survey of how much other programs are charging, I would do every program that is licensed or registered within like a mile and a half, so that you know all of them that are really close to you. And then if you have a highly specialized program, like a Chinese immersion Montessori program, then maybe you also find the other Chinese immersion Montessori program that is 15 miles away.
Or
And you
as close as you
include
can
that.
find them.
Yeah. Or maybe it's not Chinese immersion, maybe it's Swahili. I don't know. But somebody who has also a minority language immersion program, right? So Spanish immersion is not really a minority immersion, but French would be, Portuguese, Swahili, German, any of those would be considered a minority language immersion program. So go out and do some research. But even if you are like, oh, that sounds so stressful, if that just seems stressful, then just go, okay, I'm right now charging $200 a month in this age group. They tell me that the inflation rate has been 4%. So that means that I should increase it by at least 4%. So that would be $208. So just move it up to $210, because nobody's going to write a check for $208. That seems stupid. So increase the tuition to the next reasonable number above the 4% interest rate, right? Or not interest rate, inflation rate.
Well, the other thing might be is you might look at, are you giving your staff an increase of a certain amount every year? So if you only do raises every July, if you're giving everybody a 2, 3, 4, 5% raise, then again, that's an automatic. That should be a no-brainer for you, because all of a sudden, now, if I was a math person, there's a math way to do this too, Carrie, which is really taking a look at your budget. And I know there's a school of thought, but I don't actually remember it off the top of my head. How much should your payroll be of your total revenue?
40 to 45% of your total revenue.
So you can do that. You can do the math backwards. You could take what your total payroll is and make that 40% of what should be your revenue, and then figure it out, kind of some backwards math. Because I'm going to also bet that if you're listening to our podcast, you may or may not have actually looked at your budget you might have worked your budget probably on what your published rates were, which may not be what you actually receive.
Because you've got the CCS, and then you've got your 42 staff members who are bringing their children, and you're giving them childcare discounts. So make sure those are in there. Okay. So we've told them they have to, and there is at least one person who has turned the podcast off. But if you're still with me, here's the part where we tell you how to do this with as little pain to your existing clients and to you personally as the person who's going to be having the conversations as possible. Because I know that a lot of times when people don't do increases, it's because they are projecting into the future how many uncomfortable conversations they're going to have. And they're like, nope, that's okay. We won't get new sand for the playground for the next decade. We're going to grind up rocks. It'll be fine. Rocks are free. We're just going to grind them up ourselves. The kids need hammer time anyway. And that's how we're going to get the new pea gravel. So what is the first step in communicating this to your clients so that they don't storm your office at the end of pickup time today. Okay, right now we're in the middle of summer. So is this the time that we do the price increase?
This is the time that we make the announcement about to me, so much of this is about communication and transparency, and being excited. So if you're excited about being able to give your staff a raise, that needs to be part of the message that you're sending out to parents. But if you're going to increase substantially and you're not giving staff a raise, that may be a problem. But if you've given
You're going to get some pushback.
But if you've given staff a consistent raise over the last 3 years and you haven't raised tuition in 3 years, that's your selling piece, people.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. So if you already had it that you were going to be raising tuition rates at the beginning of the school year, congratulations. I'm applauding you, but I'm trying to not clap because that'll sound really bad on your speakers. So hopefully everybody is expecting a tuition increase at the beginning of the school year. If they're not, then what is your next opportunity to increase tuition without causing a storming of your office?
Do you mean like in January?
Yes. So at the beginning of the new year would be if you tell people in August that tuition is going to be going up in January, they have 4 months to figure it out, right? So they've got time to look and see, oh, well, yeah, that is an increase in tuition, but there's not another program that has comparable level of care that I can get any cheaper. So you don't want to make an announcement on July 15th that on August 1st, tuition rates are going up, because that doesn't give people enough time to take it on board and to do the research about what the tuition rates are in other programs. So give people 2 months at minimum. My recommendation is at least 3 months, right? So that they can really process it. They can go out and find out that you are giving them a pretty dang good deal because of everything you offer at your school. Okay, so we're going to give them some time. How are we going to phrase it? Are we going to is this a thing where we text people? We communicate in the parent app. We have a parent meeting. We just put a sign on the door because we know nobody's going to read it. And then you don't have to deal with it until people's credit card gets charged a different amount. Like, how are we going to do this?
All of the above.
The last one. I like the last one.
I like the all of the above because let's be honest, we've got parents that even having a face-to-face conversation with them, explaining that tuition's going up, especially if you just put it in a percentage, say, hey, tuition's going up 5% because we've given all of the staff a 5% raise. And so we just wanted to make sure that you're aware that this is effective October 1st. And, you know, the more ways you can do it, the better. You just need to know that you're going to have some people who still won't get the memo until October 1st when you raise the rates.
Okay. So how do we, what are the pushbacks that we're likely to get and how do we handle them?
You know, I think you brought up some great points from the beginning. So one, what are you selling and what is everybody else selling, right? So if you are by far the cheapest in town and you offer comparable service, and maybe the big difference is that you don't provide meals, you know, is there a way to make that change? Providing meals and increase the rate so that parents think that they're getting something for the change. Being transparent of why the rates are going up. You know, if you're one of the programs that we've worked with, because we've had some that have literally seen their insurance double, triple, 3 times the amount in the last year. Again, letting parents know, look, we're doing a 5% interest rate because, well, my insurance went up 110%.
Yep.
Okay. So there's absolutely a reason in your budget why you need to have this increase other than just the gallon of milk is now $1 more than it was a year ago.
And you need to make it clear that you're not price gouging and it's not so that you can get a Lamborghini, right? that you're doing this because there are expenses in the business that have gone up. And just like the Happy Meal is not $1.25 anymore, I'm old enough to remember a $1.25 Happy Meal.
Or
The
even
Happy
dollar
Meal now-
menus. Do you remember when everything could be under $1?
Yeah, a lot of things. But I mean, I don't know what the Happy Meal is now because I don't have little kids that I buy Happy Meals for, but I'm guessing it's a lot more than $1.25. Now I want to Google it. We're not going to do that. We're going to keep going. But talking to them about prices have increased across the board. I understand that your budget is tight. And because of that, we're now also going to be offering the meals here at the school, or we're going to be having Spanish class here at the school, or you've got that cheerleader, she can do a tumble class. You know, somebody who was a cheerleader in high school, if they're under 35, they can run a tumble class at your school so that they can have gymnastics on site. Talk about those things and say, we're doing everything we can. It was recommended by our accountant that we increase by 10%. That's another thing. Get a recommendation from your accountant about how much it should increase. Put that in the letter because you're not going to probably increase it as much as your accountant says you should. I'm not going to say that's good practice, but I've never known a single director in childcare who has increased tuition as much as the accountant said they should. So, well, I'm just going to have to go find another school. And that's really a bummer because my family's been here for 5 years. Here's a thing from Brene Brown. Let them. You don't have control over other people's lives. Let them do what they want to do. Remember that program that increased their tuition by $100 a week and went from having multiple vacancies to being completely full in 3 months. Yes, those 3 months probably had a lot of periods of going, are you sure? How long do I have to wait this out? This is very uncomfortable. I am very sure that you are an idiot and that I am not, this is not going to work out. But give yourself some time frame, and I'm going to suggest 90 days to live with that increase. Like I said, we're telling parents 3 months out that the tuition rates are going to increase. And everybody who enrolls between the date you announce and that 3 months is going to be paying the new tuition rates. So the 90 days is for the existing families, the 3 months or more, not for new families enrolling. The public posting of your rates goes up immediately. Or if you want to fill those spots, if you've got a couple of spots that you're like, I need to get this room to a point where it at least is covering its expenses, you can go announce it on the 18th that tuition rates are going to go up in 3.5 months and say anybody who enrolls by the end of this month will get that same grandfathering. Then those families who have a friend who is thinking about maybe coming to your program, they're going to tell all those people, hey, you want to get in on the lower rates, you got to enroll in the next 12 days. And then they feel like they're getting a great deal because they're getting the higher quality care for 3 or 4 months without paying the higher rates. So that's another one of those using psychology for the good.
All right. So
Anything
we want
else
you
we
to, we absolutely want you to send us your feedback. So kate@texasdirector.org or Carrie@texasdirector.org. We also want to make sure that you share this episode because chances are you know some other directors, and I'm guessing that some of the directors you know also aren't making as much money as they would like to be making. And this is a great way to help them move forward. Give them those tools, share what you know, because all of us are going to do so much better if we're doing this together. So with that, look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Thank you for listening to Childcare Conversations with Kate and Carrie. Want to learn more? Check out our website at texasdirector.org. And if you've learned anything today, leave us a comment below and share the show.